So hello to everyone who's here. Hello to everyone who's watching on Facebook. If you would like to get involved and contribute questions and be involved in the Zoom stream itself, then check out the link, which is all over our socials on Facebook and on the Facebook event. This is our weekly London Promoter Society meetup, something that we were doing monthly, but we decided to move to weekly during this period for a chance to get promoters together, hear some interesting speakers, talk about what they do and especially what they're doing during this period. Chance to ask them some questions and to learn amongst ourselves, and also then to discuss industry updates and some general London Promoter Society updates towards the end as well. Today we've got 3 fantastic speakers, and first, coming up in a few minutes, we've got Hannah. Many of you will have seen Live for Love. It's had an incredible impact. How much have you raised, Hannah? 25,000 pounds?
Yeah, just over that.
£25,000 since starting the Live for Love streaming campaigns during lockdown, which raised money for UK food banks, and you'll hear more about that from Hannah in a sec. She's collaborated with some incredible people, and I have to thank herself for giving a platform to some of my projects over the last couple of weeks. So yeah, we'll hear from Hannah first. And Hayley, would you like to introduce G, who you're with?
Hello, I'm Hayley, co-founder of the LPS, and other speakers we've got is G Sinha, who's head honcho and director of ReSpace projects. Some of you might remember the Hive in Dalston. It's a really good blueprint for promoters, especially to learn from, because in a changing times like this, especially when there's going to be a lot of commercial buildings that are unused, it's a really good template to move forward with. It's a way of getting developers in cahoots, really, to use the buildings for community good. So we've even been chatting about making a big London-based promoter hub, which is quite exciting. So I'm looking forward to hearing more from G. My office is actually in ReSpace at the moment in Gillette Square, and it's free, so that provides you with more fun. And then we've got Sonny Green coming up. He's a spoken word artist, MC, freedom fighter, big community ambassador, and the promoter of Troubled Tongues. He's also volunteering at UK Food Banks and is doing a live stream. I think he's moved his event onto Instagram, so he's doing live streams, I think, every night at 7 p.m.
So we catch him afterwards.
Yeah, that's true. He's probably just finishing up. So yeah, but we've been running the LPS now for a couple of years, and me and Freddie first got into connection about it because we realised that as individual promoters, you know, we hold a lot of people power, and when you combine 10 promoters, 50 promoters, 100 promoters, and you really position them for positive change, you can make a giant impact. And I think also together we've got good buying power. We can share services, resources. We can act as a bridge of information to venues. And we're also now advising the Nighttime Industries Association, Music Venues Trust, Sound Diplomacy, and quite a few other really key organisations who are lobbying the government. So it's good to have a voice at the table. Should we kick things off with Hannah then? If you want to give us a little introduction about who you are, what you've been doing, who you've been doing it with. Let's
do it. Hand over to Hannah for the next 10 minutes or so.
Great. Hi guys. Nice to see you all. Thanks Hayley and Fred for asking me to do this, and thank you guys for all your hard work that you're putting in. It's really great to see lots of people doing very inspiring things. So yeah, keep more power to you guys. So I set up Live for Love about 5 weeks ago. I am a events producer, and obviously all work has dried up completely. I just finished a project back home. I did a party there, and thankfully managed to raise a little bit of money for myself to last me through January and February. And then, you know, going into February, all my work sort of completely went. So I was sort of getting quite down about it all and getting a bit down and depressed about the whole situation. I had about 2 weeks of frantically applying for lots of jobs, trying to redirect and figure out what my skills could be used for and what I could do. I ended up applying for, I think it was about 26 jobs, and didn't hear anything back from any of them. So at the time, like, this whole thing was sort of just kicking off here. My mum was stuck in India, and I was trying to get her repatriated, and that was a fucking nightmare. And yeah, it was all just a bit chaotic. So I'd been reading a lot about the food banks and what was going on, and I initially was going to go and volunteer, and that was sort of the plan. I was going to spend 2 days a week volunteering for those guys, and then I was seeing a lot of people, lots of my mates and people that I'd usually book for parties doing live streams, and realised that, wow, this is just crazy. There's so many people that are accessing all of this music. Why not harness this new platform that's exploding and do a campaign? So the campaign is for UK food banks. It's for the Trustnell Trust. All of the money goes directly there. And the idea is that DJs, producers, musicians live stream, and within that, they include the hashtag and the link to the fundraiser. And then they sort of encourage people on the stream to donate. So far we've had, I can see Max is on the forum here. Max has done a takeover. Fred has also done a takeover. We've had Artwork did 11 hours, which was amazing. He raised $5,000. We have had Decline Crafty Cuts. We've got a Jungle Cakes takeover next week. We're doing Percolate, who would have done a Queen's Yard party next weekend. We're going to do 12 hours with those guys, and do 12 DJs. So I think because there's so many people on different platforms that we've been able to access, the campaigns had such a massive reach through that network, which is why we've been able to raise so much money so far. And initially I was going to sort of stop when it got to 20 grand, but actually it's just getting more mental, and I'm getting more and more people, I'm just frantically on the phone all day and replying to so many emails. So it's actually just getting bigger and bigger. So I think the way it's going so far, I think we're going to aim for 50,000, and see how it goes. We might as well carry on if there's people willing to give money for a good cause and people that are wanting to play music. It makes sense. So yeah,
it seems like you should definitely do that, because you're at a point of almost early momentum. It seems like it's growing and growing and growing, and I think that artwork stream reached a lot of people as well, and I've had so many people talking about it since. It's fantastic you've earned that amount of money in that short a time.
Nice, thanks mate.
I wonder whether it's like more comical part. I wonder whether have you had many people thinking it's called Live for Love as well as Live for Love? Because I thought that was a fantastic name as well. And I was having a chat with someone, and I went, "Oh, I realised actually that has it purposely got dual meaning?"
It's a bit of both. My boyfriend at the start was like, "Hannah, you're going to have to constantly correct people," but actually there isn't like live for love, live for love. It doesn't really matter. But both are quite nice anyway.
Fantastic. And I mean, we'll pass over to questions later. If anyone has any questions, the way we're going to do it today, please type them into the chat, and we will then look at those and then address them towards the end once we've had the free speeches. So please fire them in there. Just one thing I think people, and I know promoters might be interested in, is a sort of practical question. How difficult has it been doing something that's that outsourced, where you're working with lots of people who are very passionate but have all kinds of different setups, all different types of internet connectivity, different type approaches to curation and things? In many ways it's very exciting. How has it been in terms of the challenge of that as well? Because I guess I know people have hesitance there in terms of their ability to engage, but it's quite open and easy, isn't it, to collaborate with you?
Do you want me to answer that now or at the end?
It would be great. It'd
I'm
be
going
great
now.
to hear. It'd be
Oh,
great to hear
I've
now
lost
about
you.
those aspects of it. Yeah. I think there's a bit of a
So
delay on that.
I guess, yeah, sorry guys, my internet's not, the irony that is my internet isn't actually very good. So hopefully you can hear me. It's definitely been an experience. We've done over 115 streams now, and all of them have different technical setups that are totally different. So we're sort of trying to, it's been me and my friend Will, who's been really helping me out, and we're trying to gauge like what is people's setups, how are they doing it, what's the best platform to do it on, because as you guys probably know, Facebook cuts you out after about 40 minutes, which is a bit of a nightmare. So we've been playing around with like using OBS, using iRigs and different sort of setups, and then depending on who it is, we have been working with them to figure out what they need to be able to stream, because we're finding so many DJs and musicians are like desperate to do it, and some of them just don't know how to set up.
Oh, we lost her.
Oh, I'm back. Sorry guys.
That's right.
Here we go.
Can I ask what do you need from maybe promoters, and how promoters might be able to help more with the campaign and ongoing?
Oh, massively, yeah. So we need sort of, it's been 2 of us running it, and we're sort of suffocating slightly. So any sort of help, you know, if you see this and you're like, that seems like a really good project, if you have a venue and you maybe want to cross stream some of the posts and some content for you guys, or if you want to do a takeover, you know, if you know a load of DJs that will be up for it, or if you yourself will be up for it, then yeah, there's loads of ways of getting involved. I'll put my email address on the comments, so that anyone that wants to can just drop me a line.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Cool. Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Hannah, could you also maybe turn your video off? Would that be cool?
Cool.
Just I think that might help with the bandwidth of it all. Thank you very much.
Sure. Yeah.
We've got some questions coming in.
Guys.
We've got some questions coming in for you, Hannah. So we'll fire them over to you nearer to 9 o'clock. We're now going to go to our second speaker, who is a man who's done many special things. Really, I'm looking forward to this. This is G from ReSpace. How are you doing, G?
Oh, I've got G with me, so I'm just going to switch seats with G. So I've actually got my office right now in a ReSpace building, and it's a lovely space, and I'm sharing it with 3 floors of other creative, inspirational people, so that's super cool. G, over to you.
Hello.
Hey, man.
How you doing, Fred?
I'm good. You?
Good to see you. Yeah, well, we're trying, aren't we? All of us, in our own ways.
Oh, it's muted himself.
You muted yourself then.
I muted myself at the wrong time there. Sorry. Yeah, we are indeed. And tell us a little bit about what you do, some of the history and how that's evolving in the current time.
Sure. So it's really interesting, actually, sort of juxtaposed with...
Freddie, you need to mute yourself.
Whoa.
Yeah, go on.
That was intense.
Go on, sorry.
So yeah, it's really interesting juxtaposed with what Hannah was talking about, and you know, really sort of accessing the power of not only the current situation that's going on and everyone being stuck at home and using digital platforms to communicate in ways that we only dreamed about before, but ReSpace is actually, in some ways, it's a really old thing, and it's an old-fashioned way, or a new way of looking at old-fashioned things. So what I wanted to talk a little bit about was actually space, and what we do with it, because you know, we're, sorry, you're distracting
Carry on.
me. Totally not used to this. So for those who don't know, what ReSpace does is we reuse empty buildings for the benefit of local communities. So many years ago, I started this whole campaign with a great group of people with working from squats. So we were throwing various different parties, finding amazing old buildings, you know, doing them up and throwing great parties in them, inviting people from the local area, inviting businesses to get involved. But it was all done with this plan of, you know, highlighting what this massive waste in society was about empty buildings. And over time, that became a venue called the Hive in Dalston, which was a legal kind of the first attempt we had at legalizing a system where empty buildings could be given to the local communities for free. Rates could be waived by the council, so that actually we were able to allow for massive innovation. And in the Hive, we did lots of stuff. We did political stuff, we did well-being stuff, we did music, live and recorded. So we tried to push the envelope in a lot of ways. And that's kind of how I met Hayley, doing various different events at the Hive. And the idea came up then that actually this could be an incredibly powerful tool for the music industry, the music scene, not the music industry, the music scene at the time, which was, I think, had lost 50% of its venues, certainly a few years ago. This could be a great opportunity for the music scene to think about how to take these empty buildings and what you would do with them. And so this is kind of why I thought it might be really interesting today to rather than talk a lot about what respacing is, which is basically a very simple idea, but expressed in a way that makes it fit with, you know, with everything else. What would be really interesting is we're talking here about getting gigantic empty buildings and trying to put them to really, really good use. And now we're in the middle of COVID. And as Hayley said, we're using our space currently as a mutual aid hub to help distribute hundreds of meals to people who've got, you know, who are vulnerable or who've got issues with going outside, social isolation. But it would be really interesting to think about where this takes us in a few months, because obviously, you know, we're making history now. We're stepping into something that's no one has ever done before, and we can see a little way into the future of what's going to happen. But 6 months from now, 9 months from now, when there are millions of unemployed people and businesses shutting down left, right, and center, and no one knows how much income anyone's going to have to spend, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about a brand new world, right? We're talking about a world where there might be empty buildings everywhere, and lots of people and lots of businesses struggling and looking for a way to maybe innovate or create. So here's the question I wanted to ask more than anything else and get the discussion started, is if people in the music scene, if artists, performers, promoters, technicians, if you all had a gigantic building, or maybe 10 gigantic buildings for absolutely free, which meant you didn't have to build business models around selling alcohol. You didn't have to build business models around attracting certain types of crowd, because you know that's where the footfall is. Imagine that was the scenario. What would we do with it? How would we use that best to make music something completely different? So there's my question to you all.
Oh, I'm muting. You know how to get us excited.
Free! Use the word free.
Freedom!
But the reality is it's not a pipe dream here, because we started the Hive in 2015. And it ran successfully for 3 years, 4 extensions. No, you know, we didn't pay rent, we didn't pay rates. Council weren't too happy with us not paying rates, but we're still negotiating that one out with them. But the reality is it should be, I mean, it should be possible, because private companies get completely free rates for many years anyway off councils if they know how to negotiate. And on top of that, the government have just announced that they're going to give a year's worth of rates for free. So they've created the environment where there's going to be thousands of empty buildings, millions of people who really want something to do, the opportunity to be as creative as we could possibly want to be. Now's the opportunity.
Can you explain a little bit about how you get the developers on side with something like that?
Knife point. No, that's not true. It's not a knife point. It's nothing to do with knife point. No, I mean, ultimately, it's really simple. It's in their interests, ultimately, because you don't want an empty building. It attracts the wrong type of attention. Chances are they're going to have to give it to a property guardianship company, which is going to leech off them, off the council, off the local community, and off the guardians who live in it. Or their other alternative is to find some giant charity organization that can write it off against their funding or against their tax. And then that organization will use it for something really simple, like storage or as a shop, to sell secondhand goods. So it's in the interests of developers to have those buildings active. It's in the interest of councils to have those buildings being used for something that's creating opportunity and bringing wealth into their local area and creating an actual connection between different communities. So it's an easy pitch. If I'm really honest with you, we've had a pretty much 100% success rate whenever we've pitched, because it's so straightforward. It's saving the landlords can save up to £1 million. That's a joke. You know what I mean?
How can promoters help what you're doing in a way across London? Because obviously we've got quite a big network of different promoters. Is there anything we can be doing that might be useful for you, and then vice versa? Yeah,
I mean, from every level, from just telling people about ReSpacing and just saying, look, you may have heard, but this is true, it works, and this is something we should be looking at, all the way through to thinking about how to start projects, because we're about people starting projects. We like to provide the negotiation skills and the help and the support to get them up and running. But ultimately, what we really want is lots and lots of independent projects, just doing really, really good stuff. But the secret is that, unlike where it has been in squats and in other sort of similar sorts of environments and projects, it's not about any one building or one project. It's about having a number of projects that are intercommunicating and sharing resources, skills, ideas, creativity between them, because it's like having the difference between having one phone and a network of phones. It becomes an infinitely more powerful thing. And did that answer your question?
It did answer it well. Yeah, I feel like everyone's really enjoying this. It's great. I'm aware of, we will put some questions at the end just to keep the structure up, but I've got one comment answering your question partly from Jasper, who's here with us. Jasper, what would you like to say to me?
Hey, that's such an inspiring thought. I hadn't really thought about that area of things. That's amazing to really flip the situation on its head and think, sort of jump the gun with get in there first and think, what can we do with these empty spaces? And that's amazing. And I think there's a lot more really, really beneficial ideas you could have for the community and that. But just the first thing that sprung to mind for me, and it was something that you might need a bit more context for some of it, but was so with this game project I've got going, it's about realizing art pieces that artists might have in mind but might not be able to put into reality under the current situation. And so a big sort of one of the ideas that was an offshoot of, sorry, that effect I put on my face is really distracting.
I quite like it.
I thought that was about to be honest.
I'm a cyborg at the moment because I've just been in this game world. But yeah, so this ID quest is sort of evolved into something that's sort of letting artists put their visions into reality. And then we thought, what a great subversion of this product would be. It's so artists come to us and we sort of deal with their ideas and we create these worlds where they can envision their art in sort of this fantastical way. Then we thought maybe once we've built these ideas in the game, we can then flip it and actually put those out into reality after they've been visualized in CGI. So you're saying huge empty spaces and things,
Jasper, you're literally talking my language. I said we started with squat parties, and one of the quite a few of the parties, we often used to have quite a lot of interactive immersive theatre and interactive art and all kinds of things going on often it was a massive mess. But I guess if you took a little bit more time and effort to plan it all, it would be amazing.
I think this is why the visualizing things first in CGI works really well. So you get an idea of the space, you get an idea of, like, we've been redrafting things again and again. So it's mostly been with spatial sound and, like, how do you explore in a room in order to track down a sound, and how do you follow the sound to get to a place? And that's taken drafting and redrafting. And so because it's been CGI, you can just do it and be like, oh, I can't get up there, or oh, I can't hear the sound, it's too far away. So like this drafting things out first in CGI is just, it means you come to this very refined concept, and feel like it wouldn't be a massive leap to then or at least make it easier to then put it out into reality. And I think there's loads of, yeah, go on.
I was going to say, I think that just sounds like a really useful tool. I mean, obviously you're using it for art at the moment, but it sounds like it could be a really useful tool in general for just, you know, moving forwards as part of what our architecture is.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm thinking out loud. I'm just thinking because, you know, you think about so many different buildings and so many different ideas.
Yeah, it's just amazing that that's come up, because we were thinking, you know, when people are able to socialize again, how can this game sort of help people with this stuff? And we were like, you know, we could look for grants from big exhibition spaces and that. But if these places are going for free, that's amazing. That's way more up the right alley, and being sort of a bit more experimental, and the revolutionary side of it is interesting.
Actually,
Cool.
you hit the nail on the head. I think the whole point is that, sorry, I shouldn't have just interrupted there.
No, good, go for it.
But yeah, but you hit the nail on the head, because ultimately this, although it's about music, and although, you know, other projects are about business, ultimately the whole mission of ReSpace was about trying to help people and trying to provide as much opportunity for innovation as we possibly could in so many different areas. Because, you know, the mess that we were in before COVID was starting to settle on people's minds, you know, the economic mess and the inequality between those who have and those who haven't, and the struggle for most people to try and just make ends meet. And then along comes COVID, and that kind of like shook the whole board up a little bit. And now, you know, we're sitting here with the opportunity to think about how we actually want to be moving forwards. Do you know what I mean? What kind of changes would we want to make? How would we want to see our society develop? And so I think innovation is the only way that's going to happen. And people coming up with fantastic ideas, fantastic ways of doing things that are shared across, you know, across the whole world.
Thank you very much, G. Very inspirational. We'll come back to you with some questions if you can stick around till 9 o'clock.
I'm just going to get G to type in his the website for ReSpace in the chat box, and we're going to link the social media. So like it, share it.
Fantastic.
Shout it out.
And a reminder to everyone, questions into the chat, please. If you have questions for Hannah from Live for Love or Live for Love. I was calling it. Your email address is in there if you'd like updates from London Promote Society. And now excited to move to our third speaker today. I'm going to unmute him and see if we can get him in.
Freedom! What is going on, people, man?
How are you doing, Sonny? You all right?
I am very well. I'm glad to be here. I've just come off of my live stream and I'm absolutely buzzing. So excuse my hyperactivity and passion and energy and love, but I've come to share it with you guys this evening. And also send it out to G as well, because I've never met G, but I went to the Hive a lot, and I'm very good friends with Phoenix, and we've done some events there and stuff. And also in Southend where I live, I do free workshops for young people in a place called Folded Space with Kwesi Johnson, and that is a reclaimed space. And I'm pretty sure that Kwesi reclaimed it with G or something along them lines. I'm not sure. It'd be good if he could clarify that if you unmute him. I'm pretty sure that's right. Is that right?
2 secs. There we go.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
right,
absolutely. But that's absolutely right. Cultural assembly is part of what we're doing at ReSpace. They're awesome, and Kwesi is the man. Now you're muted.
Oh, there we
Friday.
go.
Oh gosh. Right. So you can unmute us both at the same time, right? Or is that not possible?
I'm doing my best. You're
All
right.
right. Cool. Yeah. So basically, we've been running 3 workshops there. And if it wasn't for ReSpace, then we wouldn't be able to basically do that for free. Do you know what I mean? We'd find it quite hard to hiring fees. And we work with like that Southend has really high deprivation and poverty levels. Like 1 in 3 young people here are like in poverty or something disgusting like that. You know, it's like some forgotten seaside cracked out town that's only really does well in the summer. And we suffer. Our high street is completely fucked. You know, so many shops are empty, and it's crying out. It's crying out for like some serious ReSpace development, like on a major scale. And I'm like quite heavily involved in like the community activism here. I run a group called We Love Southend on Facebook, which has 15,000 followers, and a part of that group. And it's an open group where anyone can come on and post and share their views. And I'm always like forward thinking into how we can expand on all this stuff and bring people together. So I want to open up a coffee shop, and I've been talking to Kwesi about it, but I've just been looking at renting somewhere. But if we could do the ReSpace thing. So my question was to G is that, you know, once we open up a coffee shop, it gets booming, trade starts flying. What is there to stop a landlord coming in and going, do you know what, like we want this now, or like charging us extortionate rent? Because I know a similar thing happened to Passing Clouds, where like obviously I know it's a completely different subject, but well, it's not completely different, but they stuck on really high rents for Passing Clouds, and then suddenly it wasn't affordable for them to really make it work. And that's the one thing I worry about, is reclaiming a space, getting something really popping off there for the community, and bringing in quite a decent income and flooding that back into our community and building it so it's sustainable. And then the landlords come in and go, do you know what? You're going to have to pay us like $4,000 a month now or whatever. And not outpricing us, but just making it difficult for us. And I suppose in the grand scheme of things, we'll be okay to move like that and move forward. But fundamentally, like you say, we're doing them a favor anyway, just by having the building and working it, you know? So I feel that you could struggle for being of your own success. You know what I mean? It could be hardcore, but I guess the Hive thrive pretty well. So yeah, man. Anyway, that was just one of my questions, but yeah, that's, if he could answer that, and then I can get on with
yeah, let's get a quick you, G, then we'll come back to learn more about what you do, Sonny, and then we'll go to group questions.
Hold on. You want a quick answer? You want a quick answer to one of the best questions I've ever heard? Is that what you want? Is that what you want?
Sorry,
oh, that's fine.
I don't. Is that or no
answer? Well, give me like 2 sentences. Okay, so the key is here with the ReSpace architecture is to think about it like a digital architecture, like phones or like the internet, where no matter how well something does, the idea here is that it's movable. You're creating a following, and you're right, you might have the space. As long as you know how long you've got the space for, you make your plan for that precise period of time, and you make your exit plan. So you know where you're going to go to next. All your people know where you're going to go to.
Yes.
So that's why the ReSpace thing was different from squatting, because with squatting, you don't know your time limit. Whereas ReSpace, you know how long you've got. And if it lasts longer, if you get an extension, wicked, you just carry on. But you've made your plan, you've hit your targets, you're ready.
Perfect.
Cool, thank you.
Great.
That was a very concise answer.
Yeah, perfect answer. Perfect answer, man. That was brilliant. Can you hear me now, yeah?
I can. So, Sonny, tell us some more about what you do and how you're working in this current period as well, and how that relates to your promotions.
Okay, yeah. So fundamentally, I'm an artist foremost and an MC. I tour with Asian Dub Foundation, and I release records. I released a song yesterday called Dose of Reality. It's kind of like rebel kind of music, but I tour with a sound system, and I'm a promoter of a spoken word night called Trouble Tongues. And we're based at the moment at the Jago, which is the old Passing Clouds building just down the road from the Hive. but we started in Kentish Town at a venue called Neighbour, and we are, it's our second birthday in September. We've been really successful. Our nights are always filled. We have a really high attendance. They're free entry, so that people can come in for free, but it's donation on the door, and a lot of the money goes back into building the community, booking artists like the poets that play at our gigs to come and teach at the workshops, so that it's all linked back into the youth. You know what I mean? And yeah, just keeping the vibe alive. And then for my bread and butter, I'm actually hired to go teach music mentoring in schools anyway. So that's for a different organisation. And then Troubled Tongues is just like the movement. So right now, I've just come off a live stream with 150 people on it from all over the world. We've got a Troubled Tongue slam going on, and it's the first time in history it's ever happened. There's 16 UK poets and 16 American poets, and they're all going at each other, like doing basically 4 go through. And there's I could break it all down, but there's like 4 groups of 8 and 4 go through in each group to the next round. So tonight was round 3. And it's just mad. We go on Instagram Live and we get the poet in. I've got a host from the Bronx. She's 21. She's called Shay the Poet. She's an incredible poet and really amazing, inspirational girl that I met through Instagram, through doing this live. It's the 36th one we've done in a row. Every night at 7 o'clock, I come to my nan's front room because she's got good Wi-Fi and I've got shit Wi-Fi. So I make sure I come here, and that's where I'm streaming from. And it's just blown up, really. We started off with only 1,000 followers on Instagram, and now we've got 1,900 in the last 35 days. We've doubled the reach, and so it's unbelievable, the journey. And I've connected with like the whole New York slam scene, and I met a lady out there as well, and she's sent her some stickers and stuff, and sent her the t-shirts and gave her like the format of how we do it. And she's going to be starting a night in Brooklyn at the end of this lockdown. As soon as lockdown's over, Troubled Tongues is going to America. So we're going to do 4 events a month, one event in Southend, 2 in London, and 1 in Brooklyn every month. And it's like, if it wasn't for this lockdown, it wouldn't have happened. It's so powerful. It's like,
and the international element of it.
Because this is it.
Collaboration across borders has come from this as well.
Yeah. If it wasn't for this, we would have never been going on Instagram Live every night. And as soon as we started going on live, the New York slam scene was like, what is this? What is going on? Like, who? Like, you know what? Like when I host, that like I really react to people's poems and stuff. Do you know what I mean? I feel it. Like if you go on Troubled Tongue's Instagram tonight, you'll see like I was like bursting out of tears, like streaming down my face and stuff at some of the poems and that. And it's like, I really feel it. I wear my heart on my sleeve, you know, and they're not used to English people being like that. They think we're all tea, biscuits and like really reserved and conservative, but I'm just not like that. Do you know what I mean? I just don't know. That's not me. That's not me. I'm not like that, man. I'm like, you know, whatever. I'm passionate. I love people and I'm a people's person. And if you're sharing your soul with me and your truth with me, I'm gonna react to that. I'm not fucking Simon Cowell. We're not all Simon Cowells, you know. So anyway,
what's also fantastic about that is just within the immediate positivity of what you're doing is also a creative exit strategy, if you want to call that, or a step back into a non-lockdown world.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because that transfer is something that people are talking about a lot, I suppose. Embracing the positivity you talk about and then letting that grow. Irrelevant to lockdown or not.
Yeah. Well, this is it. It's on now. No matter what, after lockdown, we are continuing the stream, and we'll do it on a Sunday because it's 2 p.m. there in New York and it's 7 p.m. here. And obviously, even now, there's some of them still at work, and they're like, it's so funny. They're like sitting in their toilets doing their poems, like, I'm at work right now, but I don't miss Troubled Tongues. I'm gonna stream for you, like, you know. And it's just mental, mate. But yeah, we're gonna definitely continue it. And there's their promoters out there, so we've linked up with some of their promoters. And even right now, they're streaming in New York. Poetic Boy D's live stream. He's one of the big New York slam poets and a host out there. He does an after show about the Troubled Tongues hour, the slam, and he goes on for about 2 hours breaking it all down, talking about the poets, talking about the way we're hosting it, like talking about, and it's like we've really connected and we're like a family now. We all know each other's like poems and know each other's names, like, and there's like a scene out there that's on the Insta. There's probably about 100 of them, and there's probably about 100 of us in the UK that are coming on and sharing each other's poems, and we're going on their streams. So I wake up in the morning, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, they're still up, it's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock over there in the morning, yeah, or midnight, whatever it is, and they're up still going for it. And then they're like, Sonny, what's Sonny still doing up, man? What's Sonny still doing up? And they're like, get him in. And then they're getting me in, and I'm like waking up like, oh, all puffy-eyed and like fucked. I'm like, yeah, man, you guys are smashing it. Here's a piece, like dropping a spoken word piece on them. And like, it's just, oh mate, I haven't thought about fucking COVID or whatever that shit is since we started doing it. It's like, really, it's like I'm so busy with promote. So every night we get a flyer done. The flyers are done. Every spoken word artist has got their individual flyer. Each 8 of the poems have got their own flyer to promote to their people. Yeah, we got a flyer for just, if you go on Trouble Tongues, you'll see like the work that we're putting in. It's mental. It's mental. So yeah, and now we've started doing because we didn't monetize it for ages, and the last few nights we've put up the Cash App thing, and in America they're big on this app called Cash App. I never heard of it before, and basically it's like a direct transfer, and they support each other through this thing. So we've put up the Cash App, and we said 50% of the money raised goes to the winner of the slam, and the other 50% goes back into the workshops. TroubleTongueCIC.com goes back into the work we do with the young people, and to hiring different poets and all that stuff, you know. And even with a ReSpace venue, we still give Kwesi some money towards hiring the venue as well. Do you know what I mean? To make it all work. So it's like, it's all part of it, which is just, yeah, it's just been amazing, man. So yeah, that's that really. And I release records and do all that stuff as well. And yeah, just I've been volunteering at the food bank, and that was through, because obviously we can't do the music mentoring in the schools now. So instead of that, we've been volunteering and doing all that. So to the lady that was on before me, Hannah, if you ever look at Southend Food Bank and you can send some of the money that way, that would be great, because we feed just hundreds of people in Southend at the food banks, and all the support you could do. It's the Trussell Trust, I think it's through. It's all like, you know, it's all run at the churches and stuff, and I could hook you up with the people. But if we could get any of that money that you've raised into the food banks in Southend, like, I'll be eternally grateful for that. And we'll be feeding a lot of people like down here, because they're in desperate need down here, man. There's a lot of addiction problems, a lot of issues we've got going on, and any kind of help that we can get we're eternally grateful for.
Thank you very much, Sonny. And it's nice that you're speaking to Hannah there, because she's messaging the chat now. She's got some questions. She said, of course, she would love to get involved, potentially even come and do a stream. And she had one question. Is it all done on Instagram? And what are the practical challenges of that? And how are multiple people coming onto the platform? And for promoters out there who want to do something that embraces so many people from around the world, like you're doing, and advice on that basis in terms of utilizing that?
So it's all done on, you can only ever get one other person on. So we can only get one person on at a time, but they can request to come in, and you can also scroll down and pick who you want to come in, and you just go live with them. And then it's like a video call, like a FaceTime, and I'm at the top of the screen and they'll be at the bottom, and I'll be like, so my trademark is freedom. So anyone who comes onto the screen, I'll go, freedom. They go, freedom. I'm like, what's your name? Where are you streaming from? And they're like, you know, my name's da-da-da. I'm streaming from the Bronx. I'm like, yeah, the Bronx, BX, all this stuff. And it's just done on Insta Live, and Insta Live only lets you stream for 1 hour. So I go live on Instagram, people come in, and then you can send the live out, and you DM the live to your followers, and anyone who comes on can DM their live to their followers, and before you know it, loads of people are coming in, and they've got the comment section, and then we screen record the whole thing, and then we like get the little snippets and then upload it to our Insta page, and it just goes from there, really. So yeah, that's how you do it.
Cool.
All on
Fantastic.
Instagram.
I hope everyone
I'd like to convert to Facebook and stuff, but I mean, I've just not worked it out, and this way's just been super simple for us. It's been super simple, and other people on the Facebook, we couldn't work out how to get people in, so we just went, because I've got quite a big Facebook following and stuff, you know. Most of my support really was on Facebook, but now we just, because it's easier to get the one person into Trouble Tongues, yeah, we just work like that, really.
Fantastic. For anyone who's just locked in, I see there's some new people. Just been listening to Sonny telling us all about Troubled Tongues and how he's embraced the lockdown and his international streaming. We've had Hannah Ford from Live for Love and Sinha from ReSpace, and we've got some questions which have been put in over the last hour. If you've got any more, please post them in. The next question is for Hannah, who was our first speaker today, and that question is how are you going to make the project sustainable, Hannah? Is this something that, I guess, one you thought about and care about? Is it something that's only lockdown based, or is post lockdown? And if you want to make it sustainable, how does that work with 100% of the money going to charity?
Yeah, okay, so at the moment we've been doing it every day, and it's sort of killing me a little bit because there's a lot of scheduling, a lot of people that I'm trying to organise. So for the next 3 weeks, we've got people scheduled in, but after that, we're going to make it more sustainable by just shortening it down to just doing the weekend, which will hopefully mean we can carry on for longer while I try and get an actual job that pays my rent. So hopefully we can carry on doing that. In terms of actually raising some money, like we're reaching out to new people all the time that are opening up to different audiences, that is carrying on raising money. We are going to probably stop when it gets to 50, and then all of that money, like Sonny was saying, goes to the Trustnell Trust, and they split thanks. So I've actually got a call this week about where it's going to go. But also, can I just say that G and Sonny, you guys are full. My internet's shit. I was sent a list of people today, and Sonny's name was on that list of people to get in touch with. So it's been really interesting and inspiring to hear you guys talk as well.
Fantastic. And a question for Hannah and also for G afterwards. What have been some of the biggest challenges of your project thus far?
The biggest challenge for me has been managing the sheer workload. I've sort of been putting my heart and soul into this, and there's been points where I've been really quite stressed out and hectic. So I'm trying to, for me, balance, remember why I'm doing it, and it's not for anyone's ego, it's not to boost anyone's credibility, it's because I really fucking care about what's going on. So for me, it's connecting with that and remembering that that's why I'm doing it, and it's not anyone's ego or for anything like that. It's connecting with why. So that's been the biggest thing for me.
Fantastic. All the speakers today, thank you very much. It's been really inspirational, and the crossover between all three of you is really interesting. How about you, G? Some challenges, either generally and into this period. Well, here we go. There we go. It should be worse now.
That's actually a really interesting question. I was thinking about it hard while Hannah was talking, while also listening to what she was saying. I guess the biggest challenge is every day, really, because coming in and trying to do something like respacing, which is different, and you're doing it on, minimum budget, and you're always having to think fast, you're always having to think hard. I'd say that was probably the biggest challenge, but that makes it sound like it's bad, and it's not, because actually that's been the making of me as a human being, I think, over the last 5 years, is, facing these challenges and trying to find ways around them and working on the very front line. I'd say that was probably the biggest sort of personal challenge. But beyond that, yeah, it's all about people and working with people and trying to come up with ways of making it work in a world that doesn't really like us to do anything different. It doesn't like us to take on the norms and the way that they want things to be, the way that everything is set up. So I'd say that was, but that's like a deeply honest answer. Don't know if you were expecting that. Sorry.
That's what it's there for. That's what this is there for. Thank you. And we've got a question for Sonny from Chris. That question is, what sort of things would help you right now, funding excluded, though?
Okay, what thing? Funding excluded. I guess, yeah. Well, just space. I guess just space. That's why the ReSpace thing is really interesting, because obviously everywhere needs a headquarters and somewhere to just like a community centre. So that's what I'm really passionate about. So yeah, space. And what else would really help? It's really hard because you know what life's like. Everything runs through some sort of financial thing, whether it's promotion, trying to reach more people, whether it's trying to, there's always, I guess maybe volunteers. It's hard. It's a tough one, really. It's a tough question, but yeah, just connecting with the right people. That's it, really. Just connecting with more people that are on the similar wavelength, that want to just get the job done, and yeah, just make the difference, because at the end of the day, it's up to us to do it. It's up to us to really make the difference in society and do our bit. And that's the main aim, isn't it, really? And as long as we do that, we'll be all right. And that's just the aim, really. So yeah, yep. I guess all we can do is all we can do. So and it seems that everyone who spoke, we're doing all we can be doing. So yeah.
During this period especially, and hats off to you all. We've got 4 minutes left. It's gone really quickly. It's a great sign. Thank you very much. It's been by far our best one yet. It's been fantastic just in terms of the contributions, passion, speeches. Thank you very much. Please do put your email in here. Please whack it in. We'll be sending some updates around. If you'd like to collaborate, if you'd like to get involved, whether that's the curation of these weekly sessions, whether that's helping us with our blog updates. We've got a weekly blog contribution to the Nighttime Industries Association. And whether you'd like to discuss lots of other projects with us and with the speakers today, please put your email in there so we can be in touch. And anything else you'd like to round off, Hayley? A few updates.
So I've just put a link into the chat box, which is an article that I've done for the the Nighttime Industries Association's website, and it goes out in their newsletter. And I know I keep banging on about the NTIA, but they're an amazing trade body. And they've got super good connections. They're always there for legal support. There's loads of really amazing promoters. Next week, we've got Ben Santiago having an interview on here. He's someone I've met through the NTIA. He runs loads of venues globally, 1,000 capacity spaces, and he's been doing it for many, many years, and a real fire starter. So that should be really cool. With this blog on the NTIA website, what I'm keen to do is start handing the reins over. So I've done chapter 1, and then in chapter 2 I give an overview of what's happened, where we're going, and then lead it into a different promoter each week. So if you want to write an article, check out mine, and let me know if you want to get involved. I'm going to put our email address now into this chat group. I'm also going to add in a WhatsApp group. This is a collective of promoters from across the UK, with the NTIA involved as well, the Association of Independent Promoters, and it's quite good for getting the latest information on the more legal business side of things. And it's just great for advice, especially from those that are in the know, that seem to they're lobbying the government quite a lot at the moment. There's a big campaign called the Big Freeze, which they're supporting, which will freeze all rents for venues. You know, a lot of venues are struggling to pay business rates still, and they've still got bills and rent to pay. There's also a campaign from the Music Venues Trust called Save Our Venues, #SaveOurVenues. So if you go onto their website, they've listed loads of venues around the UK that are struggling, links to their social media and links to their own crowdfunders. So if we all put that in our next newsletters or across our social pages, at least then everything will get a bit more of a boost. And we can start doing that in Unity, I think, picking something every week and pushing it across our networks.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to mention is Notting Hill Carnival. And I just want to plant a seed here because I'm meant to bring free sound systems down to Notting Hill Carnival with Gaz. Gaz is Rock and Blues this year. And Notting Hill Carnival is one of the biggest free parties in the whole of Europe and has so much history and is a real celebration of sound system culture. And I think there is a slight chance it won't happen in the same way. So I'm thinking a plan B that would be quite cool would be to maybe, I mean, even if Notting Hill Carnival does go ahead, what about if we make it a UK-wide celebration of sound system culture and everyone brings a party outside their house? At least then you can change what could be a little bit of a doom and gloom PR story into something mega spectacular, and we can evolve it and push all the sound system across the UK and really spin that to our advantage and to everyone else's advantage too. So I'm just planting a seed there. I'm up for like hearing what hashtags people think might go well with it, and I'm going to speak to Notting Hill Carnival to see whether they're up for pushing it as well. So yeah, that's the latest and greatest. Stay tuned. Freddie, got anything else?
Just a smile on my face at seeing people's reaction to that suggestion. Thank you very much to everyone. We'll be chatting about all of this more next week. Please spread the word every Wednesday, 8 p.m. And we love you to all be involved. So please get in touch. Thank you very much for everyone who's been involved today, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Hey, freedom.
Freedom.
Freedom. I'd keep your box up, Freddie, so people can copy and paste things from the chat, maybe.
Cool. Tech challenge, that responsive.
It was fun.
How was it?
That was a good one, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I want to make sure I grab Sonny's details.
Sonny, you there?
Yeah,
Freddie, did you unmute Sonny?
we are still being live streamed, so I'm just trying to make sure we can drop that from Facebook. Two seconds, Sonny.
Yeah. Yo, yeah, you can. Shall I just video call you?
Now, here we go. We're off live
Freedom
stream.
for the world, chopper tongues forever. Agent Squires, I salute you.
We're off live stream.
We're off live. Okay, great.
You're speaking.
Yeah, do you want me to call you?
You can speak here if you want. We keep it open, like whatever. I'm just going to go and grab a drink. Today, guys. Thanks so much.
Let's have a conversation.
I know.
I just wanted to grab your deets so that we could have a chat. I've been meaning to catch up with Kwesi for a little while. He's been sort of saying, get your ass in gear, sort out your shit, G. Because he's way more sorted than I am. It has to be said, right? You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
But do you mind if I grab your deets and then we'll just have
a chat?
Of course
you can, man. Yeah. Do you want to take my number or whatever? And
if that's cool, I'll grab it off. Does Freddie have it or Haley?
Haley does. If not, I can. Yeah, just write it down, man. I don't mind.
All right. Tell me.
I'll probably get some prank calls off of Samantha and Sugden, Frederick. 07478.
Yep.
999. You can call me in an emergency. 660.
I swear to God, I thought you were going to say 666 then.
No.
I swear to God, 999-666. Sorry, 999-660, yeah?
That's correct, mate. Yeah, 07478 999 660. Yeah.
Wicked. I've got something coming up very soon with Freddie. I'll have a little chat with you about it in time for the 19th of May. But I'll hit you up separately.
See, what it is, is there's the building in Southend. Obviously, it's owned by the Bank of New York. It's the Kurzel. You know the Kurzel. The Kurzel is one of the most iconic buildings in Southend, and it's right on the seafront, and it's huge, but it's got so much history. I mean, and I spoke to Eleanor Wilson about it. You know Eleanor, do you?
Yeah.
Yes, I spoke to Eleanor about it, and she reckons that I should try and get it as a community asset, and then so that they can't, they can't build flats or whatever, and then see if we can go from there. But my mate squatted it. My friend Welsh, she's the biggest squatter in Southend and pretty much Essex. But he's quite unknown on the squat scene because he kind of squats buildings and don't really do nothing with them. He just squats them and just sits and smokes weed in them for like a month till he goes back with his girlfriend. That's all he really does. But but he's bloody good at what he does. And and we've done a few raves. Don't get me wrong. But I go in and I'm like, come on, let's put a sound system in here, and let's see what we can do. So we've done a couple raves, but he's very much just more into just getting in there, like a kind of like he's basically had every building in Southend. Anyway, so he squatted it for a bit, and then he got kind of like unlawfully evicted. But now it's just been sat there for the last 4 months, just completely